even though I'm not quite an occultist. I do have a library on it, and I have found connections with Kenneth Grant, who is one of the
Grandmaster
one of the followers of Crowley.
Yeah, he's the Grandmaster of one of the branches of the OTO, I think.
Right, and he took Crowley's Watchtower deities and transcribed them all into the Cthulhu deities, and so we're back to the fish monsters again. There's people in these areas that are coming to the same conclusions, even though they are very strange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That's exactly that, and it's so fascinating. Again, I mean, just trying to unravel all of this and see if it's mythology, if it's any truth in here, or if it's just again some kind of myth creating. But I agree with you. It's fascinating, and I mean, so you went down there to St. Augustine. We're at the college. Then how did you get from there over to another very interesting place that you visited and that you had included in your latest video? You went over to Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes, and here I was in St. Augustine hanging out with the owner of WQXT, and he introduced me to his good friend George, who owns Athena's restaurant. And so I found myself eating Greek food from Bricks of Greece, which just caught on fire. George is there right now, sitting here in Athena's restaurant, and I couldn't help but note the synchronicity in that as I was looking at a plaque of the Parthenon on the wall in St. Augustine, knowing that I was on my way to visit the Parthenon in Nashville. But along my way, I figured I should visit the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah.
And so that was my next spot on my trip. Now, I didn't know how I was going to... I figured I'd just drive through, film them, and keep going.
Mm.
But it turned out that my sister lives right by the Georgia Guidestones, and I didn't even know this, because she had recently moved, and I didn't know. She didn't even know about the Georgia Guidestones or anything, but it turns out here's my sister right there. So I went and stayed with my sister and went and filmed the Guidestones and talked about them for a bit on the radio.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I have to ask, what do you make of them? I mean, there are so many different interpretations of them. Some people seem to think that they're, the commandments I'm talking about. There are 10 commandments here in, I think, 8 different languages on them. Some say that it's very sinister stuff on them, and some say it's very good stuff on them. What do you think about it?
Yeah, that's interesting. I was watching 2012 The Odyssey last night, which got into the Guidestones, and she was coming at it from a positive perspective. And I was thinking about how we can take the same knowledge and one person see it one way, just like the Founding Fathers. I see them as deceitful, others see them as icons,
mm-hmm.
So when I look at it, now first thing I noticed was that the Guidestones themselves are surrounded in holly wood, or holly plants. And this is their symbol of death and resurrection. This is why I believe they brought Anna Nicole to Hollywood, Florida, to have her drop dead in front of the baby Daniel Lynn. The Hollywood has always been one of their main symbols and is their ultimate magic wand. So to find the Guidestones surrounded in Hollywood kind of surprised me. Then I went to look to see who had crafted this, and there had been some talk about the name there. And the name, it says, author is R.C. Christian. Now, R.C. Christian is not the name of the person who paid for it, according to the news, the Albertan news source there.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely a code name. Now, the code R.C. Christian would definitely equate to Christian Rosencreutz, the mythological founder of the Rosicrucian order.
Oh, yeah.
The Rosicrucian order was founded in around the 1400s and was so secretive that even the members didn't know who the members were. But so obviously this was designed by the Rosicrucians. And I found it interesting that all this work they had done, they had misspelled the word pseudonym, and they put an N at the end instead of an M.
That's interesting.
And another interesting error on the founding writing stone, the guide, not the guide stones themselves, but on the marker, is the time capsule that's on there, and it says to be opened on, and then there's no date. Now, this immediately made me think of the Cross of Henday, which Fulcanelli, which is another pseudonym. Fulcanelli is not his real name. It's the man who wrote Fulcanelli's book, The Mysteries of the Cathedral, in 1926, is unknown. Nobody knows who Fulcanelli really is. But he found that all the ancient Gothic structures were actually alchemical books in stone, and that were giving secrets to the initiates who could understand them. And when he got to the Cross of Henday, which I believe is 600 years old, he noticed an error in its Greek writing across the cross arm of the cross, which in Greek said, "O cross, our only hope." Now, there was a strange S, which was put in there kind of sideways, or just and a misspelling in the Greek. And this, he determined that this was a symbol to show that there was a double catastrophe on its way, which he dated to the year 2012. And then this Cross of Henday had tarot symbols on its base, which were the last from the 19 tarot card. No, I'm sorry, from 17 up to 20, leading from the moon to the sun to the Day of Judgment.
Yeah, with a supernova kind of symbol on one of the sides, I guess.
Yeah, the strange A's. Nobody's really deciphered, but you know what? They look a lot like the big flying V that flew over my car on my way to Portland. Too.
No way.
Look very much like that. Yes. And we'll get to Portland because the story just keeps going.
Yeah, please continue. Yeah.
So there are these obvious mistakes on the guide stone plaque that obviously weren't accidents. They were code. And then I noticed as we went down the list of rules, the new 10 commandments, as it were, and of course the first one is the one that most people take note of, which is maintain humanity at 500 million.
Yeah.
Now that's quite a few shy of 6 billion. So there again, I'm wondering, is this symbolic of the catastrophe, and then are these 500 million going to get their spot in the subterranean bases that our government's building for some unknown reason, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is very interesting because you made connections here with the Cross of Henday, 2012, an upcoming catastrophe, and then the Georgia Guidestones. The word pseudonym. Do you have any idea why they spelled it with an N at the end instead of an M?
I don't. Intuitively, I feel that it has some connection to the last rule on the Guidestones, which is be not a cancer on this earth, leave room for nature, leave room for nature. Now, they put that statement there twice, and to me, there again is code. But no, I've yet to decipher it. I've started thinking on different lines, like Nin might be the code, and we're brought back to the goddess Nuit of the Egyptian pantheon, or Nun. So I honestly don't have a clue. I just know that this wasn't done by accident.
Well, that's right, exactly. When you carve something in stone like that, you don't make a mistake like that, That's fascinating. And then one other interesting thing again is that you pointed out in the video was that they have 8 languages that we speak now, but also on the top stone, the Georgia Guidestones, basically it's 4 big stones, and they have 2 different languages on each side of those, and then there's a top stone. Tell us about that top stone.
Yeah, the top stone's interesting because now, once you realize every language has its own frequency and must be seen as archetypal and not simply just letters. Each letter has a meaning and magic, and every shape of the letter has a vibration in our reality. of these languages comes to you from a different frequency. And one of the interesting ones, and I would really love to figure out why they chose Swahili as one of the languages.
Mm-hmm.
But up on the top, you find where they have ancient Greek, Sumerian cuneiform, and ancient Egyptian, and then I believe the other one was Hindi.
Was it?
I can't remember the fourth right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember either.
Middle Eastern language.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And
now, as I was looking across on the Egyptian side, the symbols that I saw, these hieroglyphs, I see a flying saucer raising up off the ground with like lines of propulsion underneath it, and then just down the way from it, an owl. If you're looking at this thing from an extraterrestrial perspective, it really starts to just keep restating itself.
Do you know, by the way, the Akkadian or Sumerian language and the Egyptian hieroglyphs, is there any kind of interpretation on those, on the stones, so you can know what it says?
Yeah, I believe that they say what the plaque actually said, which is, let these stones guide us to an age of reason. Something to that effect. I'm certain that's what that means.
Okay, interesting.
Let these guide stones be a guide to the age of reason. And, well, as you look at the different guidelines, you wonder, some of them seem like a good idea,
Yeah.
But one that I found very curious was it saying, guide reproduction wisely.
Oh, sheesh. What the heck is that all about,
Yeah, and as we know that these guys are incestuous interbreeding people, like all of our presidents here in America are all descendant of Charlemagne, or at least 40 or 39 of the 42.
Yeah.
We find that they definitely guide their own reproduction. That's for sure. Wisely, I'm not sure about that, but
so they might have
guiding.
They might have a plan then for 500 million elite nobility that's still left on the planet, and they're gonna they're gonna have their little breeding programs or something with these guys. Who knows what kind of vision they have for the Earth if this indeed is connected with potentially some kind of upcoming catastrophe and that there is some foreknowledge here that potentially a lot of people could die. I mean, who knows,
Yeah, and once again, they're building those subterranean bases for something.
That's right.
And, I ended up on TV because I ran into one of the Bilderbergers who turned down his subterranean spot to go meet with the Palladians in Switzerland with Billy Meyer. My life is one miracle after another. There's nothing in it that I plan. Just like running into you in Phoenix, I don't consider any of this accident. I'm being guided along a path. And I think that's more important than the information I'm giving you, is the recognition of the miracles that have led me to it.
Freeman, I gotta ask you, back up there. What do you mean you bumping into me in Phoenix? Explain that for me.
Well, we met at the Gem and Mineral Show.
No, we didn't.
We didn't?
No. I was thinking that you were talking about potentially that you could see that something, in the future that we actually might hook up, a meeting like in Phoenix or whatever. But so did you meet someone who said that they were me, or tell me about it?
Well, this was quite a few years ago, and wow. I could have sworn it was you.
Really?
You haven't ever been to the Gem and Mineral Show in Phoenix, Arizona?
I have never actually even been to the United States, so...
Oh, man.
This
is weird.
That's very weird. Yeah, exactly. I can't believe you never told me that before. Okay.
I thought I had.
That's interesting.
I think I met your doppelganger.
That might be it. But did you talk to the other me then?
Yes. I sat on a grassy knoll and discussed the radio show. And so then when you contacted me, I thought for sure it was because we had met.
Really?